Against the Current is sponsored in part by Servpro of Pulaski and Laurel Counties. When fire or water damage takes over your life, trust the team in green at Servpro to help you make it like it never even happened. They provide 24/7 service when you need it most. Give the local office a call at 606-877-2160 or online at servpro-pulaski-laurelcounties.com. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Well, today I'm joined by Tony and Julie Roberts and this may take a little bit, so bear with me here, Servpro of Pulaski and Laurel Counties, Servpro of Madison, Rockcastle, Garrard, and Lincoln Counties, Servpro of Pike, Floyd, and Knott Counties, and most recently, Servpro of Henderson, Webster, Union, McLean, Crittenden Counties, and then also Warrick, Spencer, Dubois Counties in southern Indiana. That's a lot. So Tony's originally from Henderson and in Western Kentucky, and Julie's from Nicholasville. Both graduated from the University of Kentucky, Go Cats, and currently live in Richmond with their two handsome young boys, James, Paul, and Alex, who are perfectly well-minded and I'm sure never get in any trouble at home, and their adorable chocolate lab, Paxton. So most important question first, who rules the roost, Paxton or is it your youngest, Alex?
It's Alex.
My second is now about 2.5, and it doesn't matter how much we think we're in charge. He lets us know we're not in charge. So
Alex definitely.
The stubbornness of myself and my wife and put that into one tiny little 2-year-old human. And so he's very, very headstrong. But
just raise many versions of yourselves, it seems like.
No doubt about it. And just a little bit about Servpro real quick too. It's fire and water cleanup and restoration with 24/7 emergency services. Give them a call and they'll make it like it never happened. I know we've used you all quite a bit with our clients here in Somerset and Pulaski County, and you guys are always a big help to us. So we appreciate that too.
Thank you.
Kind of what I told you guys, we're going to do a little bit of rapid fire questions first, and kind of my thought here with this, and problem here is you could either gain significant credibility with our thousands and thousands of listeners, or you could completely lose it and risk them tuning out of this podcast altogether. So no pressure here.
No pressure.
So without hesitation, just give an honest answer. No, we'll go first. Waffles or pancakes?
And pancakes.
Pancakes.
Okay. Sausage or bacon?
Bacon.
Bacon.
Donut or bagel?
Donut.
Bagel.
Oh, no. Oof, Julie. -2 points
Yeah.
for Julie, plus 2 points on that one.
I actually don't like donuts, which is like a totally weird thing.
All right, we'll make sure I edit that one out because we don't want to completely cast you off on that kind of answer.
I'll be done. I'm voted off the island.
Favorite cereal?
Captain
Cinnamon
Crunch.
Toast Crunch.
All right, +2 for both of you. You got back into the positive on that one. And then last 2 questions here. Maybe the last book or maybe 5 or 6 minute article you read that kind of stuck out to you.
I just got done with Nigel Travis, who is the new CEO of Servpro's book. He came from Dunkin' Donuts. So it's been an interesting franchise to publicly traded entity story. Had some blockbuster background. It was fantastic.
Nice.
I'm a total nerd, so I only read sci-fi books. So I can't even remember the last one, but I finished it earlier today.
I like it. All right, finally, the last question. Love to win or hate to lose?
Love to win.
Sorry, you cut out on that one, Julie. I didn't catch it.
I hate to lose. Yeah.
All right. So now let's get into your guys' story here a little bit. So you graduated from UK. Both you graduated in 2003. Is that right?
Yeah, Tony, when did you graduate?
In that range.
We'll say in that range. We'll go with it.
I was 02, and then I went right back in and got my MBA and graduated in 03 with my MBA.
Okay. So you guys graduate a couple years later. You moved y'all moved to London first. Was that right?
London.
And you opened your first Servpro location. So Servpro, Pulaski, and Laurel Counties. I guess his first question is maybe twofold. Why Servpro and why start in Lake Cumberland?
Well, I worked at Servpro in Lexington while I was at UK and a little bit thereafter. And the guy that I worked for actually approached me start a franchise out west in Paducah. And so I was interested. I needed a vehicle, and Servpro seemed like a great vehicle. And Julie and I just decided to get more serious and decided to do it ourselves. And at the time, in 2005, Pulaski and Laurel counties were two of the fastest growing counties in the U.S., or in the state, rather. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we picked it.
Nice. So you guys start that kind of your big, probably first journey. Was there a timeline, maybe not necessarily on paper, but kind of in your all's heads of, hey, we're gonna push forward with this, maybe 12 months, 2 years. If it doesn't work, we'll go to plan B? Or was it just full steam ahead? This is gonna work. We're gonna make it work.
We were so young and dumb. I don't think we ever even thought that it was a possibility that it wouldn't work. I mean, that's so stupid looking back on, but I mean, it never even occurred to me that it wouldn't work. I mean, I knew it just in what capacity it would work in. We certainly never dreamed it would be what it is now. I mean, we look back at our original business plan. It's pretty funny because we were just so small-minded. And the business has changed so much.
Somewhere.
Yeah, we do. It's pretty funny to look back on, actually. But yeah, we never ever dreamed at the time that this was even a possibility that would have 4 locations or be multi-state or anything like that, or who knows what's to come. But yeah, it was just kind of day by day at first. And then those days came pretty quick and things started working.
And so you get through year 1, 2, and 3, I guess, a little bit. I'm sure there were probably some kind of growing pain hiccups and maybe stuff you kind of dealt with there. What was maybe your biggest obstacle those first few years with that first store to overcome?
Tony?
Well, to be honest, it was, we still lived in Lexington, and that was tremendously difficult to be able to, solidify ourselves as people in the community while living in Hamburg, but operating in London. And Julie mentioned it, we were kids. I mean, she was 24 and I was 26. I looked a lot younger than I do now. So it was hard to be taken seriously. That was a big part of it. But really just understanding the communities that we were trying to serve. And we didn't until we decided to move down there. And that really changed the business dynamically.
So kind of one of those things where you don't know what you don't know. And
you totally don't know what you don't know. But our industry was pretty new. I mean, restoration wasn't really a thing. It was, as a whole. So we were kind of figuring that out too. I still think that our biggest struggle is just employees. I mean, sure. Everybody has that struggle that's a business person. I didn't realize how hard that was really going to be. And to maintain and grow. And I mean, we have a crazy, it's not glamorous. It's nasty and ugly, and it's hard and hot and sweaty and mentally challenging.
Yeah. Or cold.
Yeah, or cold. And it's just mentally and physically challenging. But but with great risk is great reward. And they're also, we're really helping get people's lives back together in the worst possible situation. So it's very, very rewarding if people can see through that and buy in. So just kind of getting the people to buy in to what we're selling.
Right. You guys are very important in those before and after pictures, especially when it comes down to it.
Yes, very much so.
You all, kind of 3 years into it before you opened your next location, how many employees were you all up to at that point? Do you remember?
Gosh, that was 2008. So I don't know. We probably had 12, something like that. Okay. It wasn't a ton.
So you get to 2008, then you open your second office in Berea. So covering Madison, Rockcastle, Garrard, and Lincoln counties. Mm-hmm. Not to mention the Great Recession that's either occurring at the time or about to just absolutely steamroll through. What was that period like? You open up another location and bam.
We were so focused.
The losses didn't stop happening. The difference in that time was our customers' ability to pay deductibles. And that's kind of when things changed in the insurance world from a standard $500 or $1,000 deductible started going into percentage deductibles. And so in order for people to save money. And so, we were always told that this is a recession-proof business, but it's not. It's very resistant. But in those types of scenarios, and really every one of the claims that we handle, we have multiple payment sources, and so it became a lot harder to secure portions of those payments.
And dwellings weren't being inhabited, or being built, so less properties to have work done on them. And then people get creative in recession. So people that were doing other things have to come up with where the business is. And they were migrating to our industry. So we had more competitors and, less really pool. So luckily we were so caught up in the growth and had some momentum. So I think we kind of had a little bit of blinders on. It certainly affected us, but I don't think mentally it got to us as much as it could have.
Well, to your point, Julie, in 2008 is when we joined the national storm team for Servpro, and we began to supplement issues at home by servicing customers nationwide. And we still do it. We're planning on our hurricane response to Beaumont, Texas, in a couple of days.
I guarantee the Weather Channel is on behind his head. I
turned the TV off for this.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing too. I'm glad you brought that up. I felt to mention too. I know I went over all the different locations you have in the counties you cover, but like you said there, I think you were in Pennsylvania or somewhere last week. Just because you have those titles doesn't mean that's only the territory you cover. You guys are all over the place.
Wherever there is need, we're there. That's for sure.
And so now you're up to the 2 locations. You've got the 6 counties, somewhat still manageable, but there's 2 of you, so I'm sure you're splitting up time quite a bit too between the 2. Or how was that transition? Not mind you, we got a recession going on over here too, but what was that period of growth like too, where it's like, okay, now I've got 2 different locations of people I've got to manage rather than just the one location.
Well, we brought in a business partner, and that was super important for us. And so Mike's a great friend of mine, my best friend, childhood friend, and we recruited him. He worked for us for almost a year as we got to the qualification level so that we could be eligible to purchase an additional license. And really he's been instrumental in allowing us to have different teams in different parts of the state. Because you're right. The hardest part is being able to cast a vision and never seeing your entire team. We see our entire team once a year at our Christmas party, and that's it. So it makes it pretty tough. And he's so helpful with that.
Okay, nice. Sorry, fast forward here. So go fast forward 2 more years. So now you're up to 2010. You get your 3rd location in Prestonsburg over into the hollers of Eastern Kentucky, covering Pike, Knott, and Floyd counties. So I guess that was probably even more instrumental bringing on that extra partner. So now instead of just you 2, now there's 3 of you. You can cover even more manageable, I guess, to cover 3 different offices and teams of people across the state like that. Especially with the big footprint. And now, I guess maybe 2010, kind of right in the middle of the recession. Like you said, how much of your business at that point do you think you were doing national work versus just local area community type work?
Well, Mike was single at the time, so he traveled all the time, every single event. I think he spent like over 100 days a year in hotel rooms at the time. It was such a commitment that he took on. We started doing larger projects, and I don't really know how that happened, whether that was just organically or something that we did correctly for, a part of time. But in that 2010 to 2012 range, we were really fortunate that there was always a storm whenever we were slow at home. There was always, a significant loss at home, whether that be a large church or schools or flooding in Middlesboro or, tornadoes out in West Liberty. I think that was a little bit later. But we were fortunate that a lot of that happened. So if you look at both of those things as one particular piece of the business, that was probably a third of the work, if not more.
Well, I think that's important too. Like you said, I think this is probably true for any business. If you're, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen that now with the global pandemic going on. If your primary source of income and primary source of revenue for your business is focused on one stream, if that stream gets even just interrupted a little bit, it can have significant and disastrous impacts on your business.
It's incredibly hard to market our business and our service and come up with our marketing plans and teach sales reps because we do have so many service lines, and it's frustrating. But at the same time, it does, even it out so much because they're all at different times, throughout the year. So, and when there isn't a cold winter and we don't have a lot of frozen pipes and house fires, we tend to have a lot of storms or mold and stuff like that. It's just kind of, they tend to balance each other out and do help. And that's been an interesting part of this business to figure out, the diversification of your assets and your marketing skills, but they balance. It's the yin and the yang of the business. 2010 was interesting too with the Eastern. We've actually sold the Eastern Kentucky office in the last year. We the war on coal happened, so we had a whole nother situation that we never dreamed was even going to be relevant, and that really forced us to adapt and figure out ways around that as well. A ton of our population left, so
20% of our population left, and 20,000 jobs paying $75,000 a year or more left in the course in a year.
That's really interesting too, because I didn't even think about that. Something that's not even directly happening to your industry or your business, but indirectly, significant job loss and significant population shift. Like you said, it can dramatically impact your business. I know a lot of those, or a decent amount of those coal miners too, went west to Western Kentucky to some of the coal mines that opened, and then Southern Indiana, which you guys are there now too. But that's very interesting to think about that. And there's really nothing you can do to plan for that, because it doesn't matter how good your marketing plan is or your business plan, you can't think about
combat economics.
No. So
yeah,
obviously, with the growth of the stores and the growth of your locations of business and everything, there's always going to be stress, whether it's work, family, global pandemic. What seems to be, I guess, maybe the one work-related thing that maybe is, and you may have already hit it on earlier, but that keeps you up at night, that you wake up another night just thinking, gosh, why is this happening again? Like, what can I do to fix this?
He keeps me up with stress.
All right. Yeah, that one's off limits too. You can't use it.
He causes me stress through the gray hair. No, it's cash flow is like the thing that's always the hard. I think any business owner would tell you that. You can, many will tell you that is not a problem, and they are lying because it is for everyone. If you're in business long enough, that, and you have, a sizable enough business, it's going to get you at some point. We're pretty frugal, and we plan and we budget and we watch everything very closely. So it helps, but there's just a big swing in our business. We're essentially, Tony always says we're a credit company because we work with insurance companies. And it's funny, whenever I tell people like what we do, they always say, like every time they say, oh, that's so awesome. You work with insurance companies. It's guaranteed money. I'm like, there is no such thing as guaranteed money. So it takes us
stuff that fixes cars. I think they'll probably echo the same thing there.
Yeah. It sounds wonderful, but you do end up, it's a cat and mouse game for sure on some of these, and some of these are big ticket items. So going back and forth, and people underinsured, and the stress that's going with that. And then we do a lot of projects that aren't insurance related. So, and it's a lot of labor and things like that up front. We have a lot of safety and, materials and things like that we incur. So, and we make mistakes, but our mistakes can be very expensive. So, we've learned a lot over the years for sure.
I would have never dreamed that we finance the type of and the quantity of projects that we finance, and that's only going to grow as our service lines change and the new franchises that we have start to grow. I mean, it's a frightening number that we finance every single month at a 0% interest rate. I always tell people, Julie brought it up, but I say that we're a credit company. We're the worst credit company. We operate at a 0% interest rate for our customers that we issue credit to.
Now, are those, and we'll get to that a little bit more too, the two new franchises you guys have purchased, are those existing franchises, or are these startups basically?
They're startups.
So that's not frightening at all either.
We've lost our minds. Yeah. They are brand new.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's,
we have another partner now too. So he's from the area. Okay. And he's the general manager out there as well. So it's two separate locations, but it's multi-state. So we have not operated, other than just in minute situations for storm, in a full capacity in another state before, in another time zone, which we found out quickly and hadn't even thought about. So that's also been interesting.
But there's two different time zones.
Yeah, we're operating in two different time zones. So that just silly things like that kind of open your eyes a little bit, and then different labor laws and different taxing laws. I mean, there's just a lot of different things that we're just kind of working through.
Yeah, that was the next question with that too, is if there's different crossing state lines. Usually, I mean, there's no telling what kind of regulations and stuff you can open yourself up to. So I wondered if that was another hurdle.
It is. Yeah, it's been a little stressful, but that's okay. I mean, we've got a good team, and everybody understands the impact and how everything works here, so we can kind of figure it out in the other areas and duplicate it.
I mean, what's
on the phone with the attorney a lot.
Yeah. How, I guess, do you go about holding your other partners that you brought on board accountable, holding each other accountable, your employees accountable? What's your all's process like for that? Pray and hope it works.
We actually, I feel like, have a pretty good process. We are big communicators, so we have weekly team meetings for all of our different teams. So, the office division, and we have we're never in the same place. So we use Microsoft Teams because it's team. So, we do everything via web call. I mean, COVID has really been interesting in kind of forcing you to do some of this stuff. We kind of did it anyway, in some capacity, but there's a lot more resources available. So, we figured out we could kind of duplicate it and take it across and get everybody together. Everybody's on the same page. So we've got a weekly manager call with all of the key stakeholders essentially in the businesses. We all talk, we all say what's going on. We have a bunch of key performance metrics that we go over weekly. We have sales meeting weekly, an office meeting. We each have our own zone, and everybody's reporting what's going on and the problem. And we ask them to be candid about problems that they're having, so we can all work together and figure out. Our slogan is one team. Everything is one team around here. So if there is a problem with one particular area, it is all of our problems to fix it. And we all feel very strongly about that. And so everybody knows what's going on. You know where you stand with your KPMs. You know if they're good or bad, and everybody tries to help everybody. And they're mostly team oriented.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that we give Julie credit because she spent a tremendous amount of time trying to develop key performance metrics for every division. And then Mike and I have done the best that we can. I mean, Julie's really good at this. But it was important when we opened up the new location that we created just like a culture of, there's going to be a Teams call every single day that our GM and equity partner in that location, he knows at 7:30 every single day, he's on a Teams call. Mondays is marketing. Tuesdays is accounts receivable. Wednesdays is construction and marketing again. Not really sure what he does on Thursdays. And Fridays is our group call. And he likes it. I mean, he's used to that anyway in his old career. And he knows that every single day, that's just how he's going to start. And nobody wants to lose. I mean, I think the good thing is we've all known each other so long. And even though Julie's the newest one to the friendship group, I mean, she's still known all of us for like, I don't know, 20 years. I mean, we've all known each other most of our lives, and nobody wants to let each other down. So I think that's important. But I do want to make sure that Julie gets proper credit for the amount of work that she's done.
That's got to be worth at least like 15 or 20 brownie points there for him.
I mean, what in the world? I feel like I owe him money or something.
You haven't seen my Amazon purchases today.
Read it off the script perfectly. Thanks, honey.
Nice. I think there was, and we'll kind of, I guess, probably get close to wrapping up with this. I think there were just several key points in there that were very interesting to me. And I think, Tony, you really built on exactly what I was about to bring up, is that I think your all success has been a couple different things. It's one, it's the company culture you guys have implemented. So key performance indicators and these key performance metrics can be viewed negatively or positively, depending on really the culture of the workplace. And so I think when you're able to have that stuff in place, but people, your employees and those that are being measured by those don't feel like, can either take it as, hey, they're breathing down my neck, looking over my back to make sure everything's done. If I don't get it done, I'm being fired. But it seems like the culture you guys have created was, hey, Tony maybe didn't get this done. Let me go over and help him, see what I can help him with, so that we can all get this done. We can all improve this area. And I think having that team approach has really helped, whether you guys, and I'm sure you guys realize it too, it's what's really helped propel you guys and to be able to have many different locations to grow those areas and have employees that you trust, because there's an accountability system there, but it's one that's viewed in a positive light rather than one that's viewed as a negative. If I don't do this, I'm going to lose my job type. The other thing I looked at and I thought was interesting too, and I just lost my spot on that one.
The KPM thing, I think, goes directly into what you hit on in the very first question, that little segment of, do you want to win or do you not want to lose? And I think that's exactly what the KPM is, especially when you have multiple people in the same position amongst offices competing against each other. I mean, that is a lot. We have team metrics. It's all of the revenue and all of the profit and all of the different service lines, but it's also your individual location and your role. And you don't want to be last. And they all root for each other. I mean, while they secretly don't want to be at the bottom, I mean, they want to be at the top too. So it's been a healthy competition, I think, between the teams. So I think I think you hit on it without even realizing you were going there.
Well, I was just going to say too, I've seen some companies do almost like a fantasy football approach to it, to where they take a few managers pretty much, and then they get to draft their team. And so they're using these key performance metrics to basically win that week or to help boost their score. And then you've got a leaderboard, kind of like you guys are doing there.
Yeah. I think the leaderboard is, go ahead, Tony.
I was going to say the exact same thing, because the financial metrics that Julie put in place, they are weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual goals. And so they might lose week one, but that doesn't discourage them from winning week two. And it's been interesting because we've had some billable goals that weren't achieved, and before we had this type of system in place, people would just get dejected, or maybe they wouldn't hit some sort of validation mark and they just shut down. Be like, okay, well, August stinks. We'll try September, but that's really debilitating to a business, and that's bad, But now it's okay. Well, we lost week one. If we win week 2, 3, 4, we're going to win the monthly goal. And it's really created a different, just mental framework for our guys. We've only been doing it for 6 months or so, but it's been a significant change.
Interesting things that I think what came out of a couple of years ago, we had a meeting with Servpro corporate, and they had a whole playbook scoreboard theme of a football game. And one of the things the CEO said is it's a lot more fun to play the game when you know the score. And that just kind of hit home of how often do we not tell our employees while we're going along what the score is and then blindside them? And that wouldn't be a fun game to watch. Who wants to play the basketball game if you don't know the score till the end? So that really just hit home with me. And that's where kind of all these got developed. everybody's taking a hold of it.
And I'm a visual person too, so I like seeing that kind of stuff. But I think having a clear defined purpose is one thing, but then when you can pair it with clear defined goals that they know they can see on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and they know where they are on this, it helps elevate each team. Because like you said, each team, they lose week 1, so what, they can go win weeks 2, 3, and 4, boom, they've won the month.
Right.
So I think that's crucial there.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been doing Microsoft Teams? I know you mentioned that you're doing it kind of pre-COVID too.
We started at the end of last year. We were using WebEx before, and then we switched over to Teams because it gave us a platform where we could share. We use SharePoint. That's where I post all the KPMs and all of that. Constant communication, and it's got an app. It's really user friendly. I mean, we've been really pleased with it.
Well, we could refer to our last meeting's notes and things like that. Everything's there in one place.
Yeah, we keep a lot of shared documents on it.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have seen it too. And I think this is regardless of industry, but that's been a big thing is businesses that can take hold of technology or that already were on this type of technology where you're sharing this kind of stuff and where you're able to communicate openly and share documents, and you're able to adapt very well to this, have a much, much better chance of thriving post-COVID, whenever that may be, than those that are scrambling right now or are just saying, I'm not even going to fool with it still with technology and trying to grow virtually, where you guys weren't forced to scramble when this hit. You guys already had a good communication plan in place for that.
It's very much exposing the winners and losers and small 100%. Business and large business too. I mean, you see the things that were being overshadowed before and where your inefficiencies lie for sure.
Yeah. Well, Adam, you mentioned, us being in Pennsylvania last week. I mean, we were able to use Microsoft Teams to have, meetings about the jobs that were going on. Our different, job file coordinators were able to close out things and finish files and get billing done. It was very, very clean. It's cleaner than it's ever been. We're so excited for a larger scale event. Not that we want bad things to happen to people, of course, but just to be able to test out the theory.
So you got to be ready.
We're just here to help. That's right. But we're super excited about seeing how that technology can help us be, even more efficient. I mean, you understand in your line of work and our line of work, I mean, files that close fast are the easiest to remove and not have to worry about it anymore. So, the faster that we can do that, the faster we solve some of the problems that we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. Yep. Well, is there anything else, I guess, maybe that you guys maybe want Servpro, want people to know about your all's business, want people to know about how you all can help maybe businesses or personal belongings or personal like homes, residences, that kind of stuff, anything that we can kind of add to this?
The current most interesting thing that we do is COVID decontamination. So obviously become quite a big industry for us. We did variations of it before, so it was a natural progression. We had the equipment, protocols, so we were able to adapt pretty quickly. We always say, is it cleaned or is it certified Servpro cleaned? So we do preventative maintenance or preventative decontamination as well. So we have a whole program to help keep businesses inexpensively operational and healthy. Employees, keep trust with your customers. It's a scary time right now. You should trust a professional when it comes to that and not, just anyone. So we give consultations for free too. So anyway,
what's that process like? They just go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Adam. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, what's that process like? Do they just need to get in touch with you guys and you guys have somebody come out, spray down the area pretty much and wipe it down and get it ready?
Well, there's a couple of different things that we do for different scenarios. And so if there is a confirmed or active case in someone's home or business, we use electrostatic spraying technology, which is really cool. I'll try to explain it in like 15 seconds so I don't go long-winded. But it's a sprayer that breaks down the solution into a small particle and then puts an electronic charge to it. So it's like powder coating or spray tanning, if you've had either one of those done or seen that done before. So it gives a closer to a 360 degree application of disinfectant. And really, that's all we're trying to achieve. I mean, that's all the CDC wants us to do to try to, decontaminate and prevent the spread of viral pathogens, is to get, a 5 to 10 second dwell time of disinfectant everywhere. And so this is an inexpensive way to do that. So, and we do, my goodness, 15 to 20 of these projects a week.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I guess maybe it's a little bit of insurance speak, but if I'm looking at a business that's doing this, I would rather hire someone like you all to come in than it be on the liability be on me as a business owner for not cleaning my area properly because I didn't follow all the CDC guidelines.
Trust with your employees and customers that you know that you're taking care of them and doing the right thing to keep them from getting sick. We provide a sticker or two that we put on their door that shows that they have been serviced. So customers feel a little better and employees. But this region, I have a lot of friends all over the country, and I've really been impressed with how southeastern Kentucky has really just stepped up on the small business side and taking care of their employees in their local communities.
That's right. We have a lot of difficult conversations with a lot of decision makers, and everyone makes the right decision. I mean, it's really been impressive talking to different business leaders, whether that be manufacturing, banking, retail, whatever. I mean, everyone that we speak with, they just want to take care of their teams and their customers. And that's really, it's not what you hear all the time. And so that can be a little disheartening at times, but we've not, knock on wood, we've had hundreds and hundreds of consultations with every type of company imaginable in our area and outside of our area about this. And no one wants to take risks. So I think everybody's taking it very, very seriously.
I do think with all the negative that COVID has brought and the negative that any social media comment section brings, like you said, I think one positive thing is I do feel like for the most part, everyone, and I guess I can overuse the phrase, but everyone is working kind of like we are in this together. I think that it's been really the one big positive thing I've seen is just the way that everybody has supported each other, supported local businesses, really adapted to the new processes and changes that have had to go through just to try and support each other to make it through however long this period is going to be. So that's been really good. It's
been really fun watching the different small businesses support each other and the different ways people are figuring out to change their business.
Yeah. Well, Tony and Julie, I don't want to be a good steward of your all's time, so I don't want to keep you all on here. I do really appreciate you all taking time to do this. I think you guys have provided some very valuable insight and some really good nuggets that listeners can take from this and put into their own business. So I thank you all, and for everybody listening to, just hope you all will support Tony and Julie in their continued journey. I know my Western Kentucky family will try and help push you guys too. A little Union County plug in there. So, but just thank you guys.
I'm from Henderson, man. I understand. I've got family in Union County as well.
Absolutely. So.
And we are hiring in all offices. So if anybody's looking for a job, check us out on Facebook.
Perfect. Well, guys, thank you. I really appreciate it.